at Beaver Stadium, losing 2 consecutive football games. They've never lost 3 straight home games here under Coach Joe Paterno, and we asked the coach yesterday his feelings. He said, you know, this team is impressed. He's impressed with his ball club's effort. He said the one thing, though, on the defensive side of the ball, there's been some confusion. He wants to see that corrected today. Look for Indiana to come up with some gimmicks of their own to exploit this confusion of the Penn State defense to have some success this afternoon.
There's the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers, Bill Mallory, in his 12th year at Indiana, 26th as a head coach. The Hoosiers 0-4 in Big Ten Conference play, and Will Horn to start our afternoon. Taken at the 6-yard line. A return out to the 27 by Stephen Pitts, number 40. Penn State offensively, Wally Richardson, the quarterback, his first year as a starter, and Mike Archie, one of 3 tailbacks you'll see this afternoon. Bobby Ingram, the man to talk about, of course, the most prolific pass receiver in Penn State history. Watch out for Freddie Scott in the wide receiver and flanker position. And then the offensive line, Jeff Hardings is the anchor of a very strong offensive line, highly touted at the beginning of this season. They start from the 28-yard line. Play action to begin the game. Lots of time and protection, incomplete. The intended receiver on the play was Freddie Scott. Defensively for the Indiana Hoosiers, second down. Lewis Pinnock and John Hammerstein are the defensive tackle and defensive end, respectively. Watch for Nathan Davis to try to get back to the quarterback. The linebacking crew, Jabbar Robinson, the true freshman out of Fort Wayne. Baisley and Surface have plenty of playing experience in the Big Ten Conference. And Eric Allen, Joey Elam's, Eric Warnicki, and Eric Smedley are the backfield defensively for the Indiana Hoosiers. Smedley, a good pass coverage man. So incomplete, 2nd and 10 for the Nittany Lions. The give to Archie. And Archie goes up the middle, gains just a couple of yards on the carry.
One of the things we saw in the first play of the game, Mike, is in talking with Fran Ganner, the offensive coordinator at Penn State, he felt like the safeties from Indiana supported the run extremely aggressive. First play of the game, play action, tried to go deep. Both corners, Joey Elam's and Eric Allen, good job of covering the Penn State wide receivers.
3rd and 8. In a long count, looks to pass the football, going over the middle, complete to Freddie Scott. First down, Nittany Lions. Gain of 12 yards for Penn State.
Freddie Scott has been kind of the overlooked receiver in the Penn State offense. So much of the emphasis has been on Bobby Ingram, but Freddie Scott, along with Ingram, give us probably as good a tandem as there is in college football. Nice job here. Wally Richardson stepping up in the pocket and finding Freddie Scott on the deep curl route.
Football spotted at the 42-yard line. Archie is the tailback, number 2. Richardson again. Great protection for Wally Richardson. First completion of the afternoon to Bobby Ingram. And another Penn State first down.
Wonderful route by Bobby Ingram, Mike. On the first play action pass of the game, they went deep. Off of the play action pass again on first down, Ingram showing the deep pressure, but then breaking off the deep out route. Richardson, a great job of timing, getting the ball to him.
Fran Ganter, the offensive coordinator, talked about protecting Wally Richardson better today, and they have so far. Look at all the time he has again. Dumps it off to the man out of the backfield. And a gain of about 6 or 7 yards on the play. John Whitman was met by the freshman, Jabbar Robinson.
Good patience on the part of Wally Richardson. He was looking deep downfield. Receivers were well covered. He went to actually the 3rd receiver. Patience and good decision-making on Richardson's part.
Indiana's defense comes in 2nd in the Big Ten, 13th in the nation. They have been the side of the football that has avoided the injury bug. 2nd and 4 after the gain of 6. Football inside Indiana territory. Scott goes in motion. Archie, the ball carrier, gets a good block, cuts back. First down, Penn State. Matt Surface, the junior, made the tackle, but not until the gain of 8 for the first down.
Penn State utilizing, shifting the tight end and the motion of the wide receiver that give them an unbalanced set. Then they take their basic off-tackle power play. Good job at the line of scrimmage, getting movement of the Indiana front on defense.
Mike Archie, one of 3 tailbacks who will play this afternoon. Archie, the most consistent runner, and will get the football potentially on the 7th play of this drive. Play action again. Richardson up top, looking for Freddie Scott. End zone, and the pass interference called. All over the intended receiver, Freddie Scott, was Joe King, number 5.
Pass interference against Indiana.
Certainly no question about the interference, and we're going to see Freddie Scott gone deep 3 times already in this first drive. We've gone deep off the play-action pass. Number 5, King, was actually in position but made no attempt to play the ball, and as soon as he made contact without playing the ball, we had the interference call.
Joe King, a sophomore, was draped on Freddie Scott, who had just 1 reception last week, and as Coach alluded to, been a bit of a frustrating year for Freddie Scott. Most of the attention goes towards Bobby Ingram. Penn State now at the 18-yard line of the Indiana Hoosiers, opening drive of the football game. Richardson gives it to the up back, and a good hole opened on the left side. Matt Surface made the stop, a gain of 6 yards for John Whitman. And the good block thrown by number 68, the senior Andre Johnson, the left tackle.
Really an effective job of getting the ball to a big back. Penn State likes to do this in the red zone, inside the 20. They've got the big fullback, Whitman, 240 pounds. Give him the ball, match him up against those linebackers. 21 times out of 32 occasions, touchdowns scored when Penn State has gotten inside the 20. They work at 2nd and 4. Whitman, the ball carrier, close to a Penn State first down. Matt Surface, the junior, made the stop. Going to see on the replay the linebacker Robinson, number 55, one of the few true freshmen for Indiana playing, missed the stop at the line of scrimmage, but that's caused, Mike, by that big bulk at fullback Whitman again, right at the 240-pound mark. Whitman a yard shy of the first down. The football spotted at the 9. Brian Milne, the senior, has got the first down yardage as he was met by Victor Alote, the sophomore from Indiana. Penn State very methodical, using play action, coach, and just marching the football right into the gut of this Indiana defense. As we talked with Frank Ganner again yesterday, he made the point, kept emphasizing how they had to use play action to slow down the Indiana linebackers as well as the quick fill of those 2 safeties. There is Fran Ganter, guy who's been around this coaching staff with Joe Paterno's for quite some time. 1st and goal from the 7. Go towards the end zone, ball carrier, touchdown. Curtis Enos, the freshman, with the touchdown of 7 yards. Penn State on the board. Really impressed with the patience and how very methodical the Penn State offense was in that opening drive. And the key, no mistakes, no penalties. They had no negative plays that take them out of the sequence, take them out of the rhythm that they want to establish. And I like the mix of the run and pass, which is so traditional of that Penn State offense. Brett Conway looking for his 69th consecutive PAT. As you see, closing in on a Penn State Nittany Lion record. Impressive 72-yard drive capped off by the freshman, scampering 7 yards into the end zone. Nittany Lions on the board.
I don't see him. I think we're safe.
Of course we're safe. We're in my Subaru Outback.
I know the world's first sport utility wagon.
This beauty's got dual airbags, full-time all-wheel drive. It's more stable in the turn than a Blazer.
What else you got?
Better braking than an Explorer. That's my Subaru Outback. The world's first sport utility wagon.
Recently, the Broncos and 49ers showcased their talents in Tokyo.
Love is a many splendored thing.
At Zone West Karaoke,
By your man. Blame it on the bossa nova. The dance of love.
where the players brought no ability to carry a tune, but did bring their Visa card.
Was it the moon?
Because Zone West can accept just about anything except American Express.
Everybody sing. It's the April rose that only...
Took just about 4.5 minutes, and the Penn State Nittany Lions get on the board. An impressive opening drive here on homecoming number 76, and Brett Conway ready to put the ball in play for the Nittany Lions. We'll see Indiana go on offense for the first time. Joey Elams and Dorian Wilkerson back deep to receive. '69 straight PATs for that young man, Brett Conway. Just a junior out of Lilburn, Georgia, and Indiana to start their offensive day. Taken at the 3-yard line by Wilkerson. Wilkerson works it back out to the 25, a return of 22 yards on the play. Offensively, it is Adam Greenlee who gets the start at quarterback. We said earlier, expect to see Chris Ditto. Sean Glover, the number 3 tailback, is the only healthy one. Alex Smith, of course, out of the lineup. Ajamu Stoner, the talented wide receiver, has seen his year be pretty quiet. Eric Matthews is healthy again, thankfully, for Indiana. And the offensive line playing just for the second time this year as a healthy unit. They do, though, have a new tight end. On first down, they go quickly, and the ball carrier is Glover, and he gets up ahead to about the 31-yard line, met by Aaron Collins. Defensively, Terry Killens and Todd Atkins, the two guys on the outside, as good as any tandem in the Big Ten Conference. They will get to the quarterback today. Aaron Collins, Gerald Filardi, and Jim Nelson, the linebacking set. And as you can see, coaches, we try to work our way through the lineups. Indiana in a hurry-up offensive set.
One of the things that Coach Bill Mallory shared with us last night, Mike, was the fact that his offense was going to go with no huddle. We see it coming right out of the chute. What this does to the defense is it forces the defense to make their call without a huddle. It's going to be interesting to see how the Penn State defense is able to handle this. 3rd and 2 on this first possession. Somebody moved on the line. It was on the left side of the Indiana line. Looked to be Chris Lewinsky. There you see the big man 80, Greg Jenkins, at tight end today.
Prior to the snap, start on the offense, 5 yards, previous spot, still 3rd down.
One of the things that Bill Mallory is hoping to avoid is mistakes. The tight end over on the left side jump, putting them in a 3rd and long rather than a 3rd and short situation.
3rd and 7 now from the shotgun. Greenlee dumps it over the middle, has his receiver, and he gets the first down. Jim Nelson made the stop for Penn State. Sean Glover and a gain of 10 for Indiana. They stay in the hurry up.
One of the important things for Indiana, Mike, is to come out and answer the quick score by Penn State. That was a big first down because they overcame a 3rd down and long situation.
Indiana's offense has been struggling this year, no question. They give it to Glover again. He's got a hole, makes a move, and gets up to about the 44-yard line. Good first down run of 7 yards on the play. Clint Holes, the hero for Penn State. The hero defensively. That's his position. He's not the hero yet. Makes the stop.
The hero is the name that Jerry Sandusky gave to his strong safety years ago when he came to this Penn State team. Really a nice open field tackle there by Clint Holes.
2nd and 3. They get it to Glover again. Glover hit short of the first down yardage by Jim Nelson, number 44, the junior.
Mike, as we look at Indiana in the hurry up or no huddle offense, one of the important things here is that it's not a hurry up in terms of the tempo. They control the tempo. The offense controls the tempo. All they're doing is they're lining up in their formation at the line of scrimmage. They get the play signaled from the sideline. They use their backup quarterbacks to do the signaling. So it's nothing that limits their offense. They're able to run their whole offense, use all their formations, use all their plays.
Just a bit short of the first down needed yardage, so it'll be 3rd and less than a yard for Bill Mallory and the Indiana Hoosiers. And that guy's just looking for something good to happen. 8th in the conference on 3rd down conversions at 38%. Indiana already did a good job on the 3rd and 7.
They did, and this is one of the first big plays in the football game. This is so important for Indiana to be able to get the first down and sustain the drive.
Tate, Herring, Holes, and Miller, the defensive backfield of the Penn State Nittany Lions. Kim Herring, the junior out of Solon, Ohio, has 3 interceptions on the year. This should be a 3rd and inches running situation. Watch for the up back Steve Lee, big heavy guy, movement on the Penn State line, and Greenlee keeps the football. We'll see if the Penn State guys were drawn off.
It appeared that the Penn State defensive lineman was in the neutral zone, and while he was there, the Indiana center snapped the ball.
Sides on the defense, 5 yards, first down.
Well, that'll work just as effectively.
One of the things that coaches teach their offensive center is if he sees a defensive player jump into the neutral zone, snap the ball, and get the free 5 yards. Nice job by Jay Seib, the Indiana center, of getting that done.
So the football moved up to the 48-yard line of Penn State. Opening drive for Indiana after the impressive start for the Nittany Lions. 1st and 10. Greenlee had nowhere to go. Good coverage downfield by Penn State, so Greenlee made it right back to the line of scrimmage at best.
That was really, as you mentioned, a coverage scramble. All of the Indiana receivers were covered. Penn State was playing a base 4 under zone, 3 deep, but they did a nice job of getting coverage, forcing Greenlee into the scramble.
From the shotgun now, 2nd and 10. Greenlee. Protection for a time, but not long enough. First sack of the afternoon for Todd Atkins. His 7th of the season, the senior from Newcastle.
We're going to see the receiver on the top of the screen was open, and he was open deep. There was nobody behind the Penn State corner up there. Mark Tate was beaten, but the quarterback just could not find him. Tremendous job there by Todd Atkins. One of the things he did is never stopped his feet.
It's a loss of 8, 3rd and 18 into the flat, complete to Eric Matthews, but well short of the first down. Clint Holes was right there on Eric Matthews, and it'll be a punting situation for the Indiana Hoosiers.
One of the things that's important early in the ball game, Mike, as we see Indiana in their no-huddle offense, is to try to have some success. That would be a big emotional lift for this Indiana team.
Alan Sutkowski to kick the punt away for the Indiana Hoosiers. Bobby Ingram back deep to receive. And the football goes out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Indiana coaches told us they're going to try to keep the ball away from Bobby Ingram, and that includes a punt like we just saw. 7-0 Penn State first quarter. Indiana moved the ball a bit offensively on their first drive, but they trail 7-0. And Bill, we saw the hurry up, something you're very familiar with.
Florida State, a couple years ago when I was coaching at Georgia Tech, went to the hurry-up offense with Charlie Ward. They actually did it in a game against Georgia Tech. Of course, the rest is history as far as what it did to Charlie Ward, Heisman Trophy, national championship at Florida State. But it is something that's become very popular in the game of college football because it allows you, as an offensive team, to run your entire offense. It allows you to control the tempo at the line of scrimmage the way you want to run it. But the big pressure is on the defensive football team. It does not allow them to huddle. It really limits the calls that they're able to make defensively, and it puts pressure on that defense to execute.
1st and 10, Penn State goes on the offense for the second time this afternoon. They start at the 24-yard line. Richardson pumps. Now he goes up top for Bobby Ingram. Incomplete, overthrew his intended receiver. Eric Smedley was on the coverage for Indiana.
What Penn State has done is they've made a strong statement. You are not going to support the run aggressively with your linebackers. You're not going to support the run aggressively out of your secondary. We are going to make you pay for that if you do with the play-action pass.
Penn State offense tied for first in the conference, averaging over 35 points per game. They work it 2nd and 10 from their own 24. Freddie Scott goes in motion to the far side of the football field. A handoff to Mike Archie up the middle. Matt Surface was right there. Archie will get 2 or 3 on the carry. Pardon me, Brian Milne, number 22, the ball carrier.
Matt Surface, number 47, not a big physical linebacker at 6'2", 220. Runs well, extremely active. Joe Novak, the defensive coordinator, says he is one of the people that you're constantly going to find around the football in the course of the game.
3rd and 7. Richardson checking off at the line of scrimmage. Drops back, pressure on, applied by Indiana, dumps it off into the flat. First down, Penn State. Brian Milne met by James Baisley, but not until 12 yards and a first down for the Nittany Lions.
Wally Richardson shows his athletic ability when the pressure gets to him. And there was a breakdown in pressure at the line of scrimmage, and we see big number 98, Nathan Davis, in his face, but Richardson with the ability to keep the play alive long enough for number 22, Brian Milne, to work open in the flat.
Milne, the senior out of Waterford, Pennsylvania, 6'3", 253-pounder, now 1st and 10, ball on the 40. Richardson again, play action, and it's Brian Milne. Another first down. He's still on his feet. Milne scampering inside the 30, hauled down at the 24-yard line. Aaron Warnicki had to do a great job to catch up to the big guy. A 37-yard gain for Brian Milne.
Mike, Brian Milne is one of the real inspirational stories in this stadium today. As a high school junior, Milne was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease. He did not play any form of athletics for 4 years. He's back not only playing football, but in 1993 was the NCAA discus champion with a throw of just slightly over 200 feet. Tremendous story.
And Penn State the whole time stood behind their scholarship offer to Milne, who's been the workhorse on this offensive series for the Nittany Lions. Timeout on the field, called by the Indiana Hoosiers. We will take the break with Bill Mallory and his staff. Penn State moving the football effectively once again. They lead in our game 7-0 first quarter.
See on the last play, a 37-yard catch to the fullback, number 22, Milne, off of their play action, their counter pass. You're going to see Milne in the flat. They fake the counter play. Richardson doing a good job. Tremendous one-hand catch.
Gain of 37 yards. And now Mike Archie, the ball carrier, coach. Archie running the football for Penn State, met by the Indiana defense. A gain of 6 yards on the carry. Wally Richardson impressive thus far. 5 for 7, 78 yards.
What is so impressive about Wally Richardson is his athletic ability and his decision-making to this point in the football game.
Limping off the field for Indiana, Victor Alote, the big man, just a sophomore in Bill Mallory's defensive scheme. And over the past couple of weeks, he's gotten more work out of Brooklyn, New York. 6'4", 295-pounder. There you get a good look at the focused Wally Richardson. Trying to fill some big shoes, it goes without saying, even in this latter part of the football season. Richardson hands the football off. The ball carrier was big John Whitman. He bowled into the line, and he's going to be short of the first down yardage. You know, you talk about Wally Richardson, coach, and it's really an interesting story. The kid wants to be a lawyer. He's come in and tried to replace Kerry Collins, and replace such a mean word to say in collegiate football.
Yet, as you talk with the Penn State coaches, they're so impressed with the way he has handled the pressure of that challenge. As you mentioned, he wants to be a lawyer. He's taken a full set of courses, and Coach Paterno mentioned that so much of his time off the field has to be spent in preparation for his classes rather than studying for Saturday afternoon in the stadium.
3rd and 2 from the 15. Working around the outside is Curtis Enos, the freshman. He was met defensively by the Indiana Hoosiers. Number 45, James Baisley.
Jamie Baisley has been growing each week at that linebacker position. Here we're going to see him, number 45, with a good tackle, and then a real strong cleanup by number 18, Eric Medley, keeping Whitman from the first down.
Short of the first down for the first time. Penn State was 3 for 3 on third down. A 34-yard field goal attempt for Brett Conway. Snap, the hold is good. Conway's kick is up, and it is no good. So Penn State unable to convert on what looked like another impressive drive, and that's got to give Indiana a little bit of feeling of confidence.
No question, Mike. A big lift for the Indiana defense because the big pass completion to Milne set Penn State up once again in the red zone. For them to make a stop, it gives their defense a lift, gets their offense right back on the field. Now what's important is for that Indiana offense to step forward and be productive.
Coach, ESPN2 is your home for college football. Again later today, kickoff set for 3 o'clock. Elizabeth City State College travels to Hampton, Virginia to face Hampton University. It is a Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association battle. It immediately follows our game at 3 o'clock. Elizabeth City and Hampton right here on the Deuce. Indiana to go on the offense for the second time. Let's see if they stick with the no huddle. And they work it to the big man. Ball carrier was Sean Glover, and Glover has been the guy who has gotten the most work. Now Glover coming off a very good performance earlier this year. In for the injured Alex Smith against Iowa, ran the ball 48 times for 199 yards. He was held in check last week by Michigan. He's the number 3 tailback for a reason, but he's still a talented young man.
He certainly is, and in the Iowa game, when he ran 48 times, he showed that he can be a workhorse.
There they go again to the man we spoke of, Sean Glover. Stopped after a gain of about 2 yards on the play by Jim Nelson of the Nittany Lions, number 44, the junior.
Indiana has a good rhythm with the no huddle. What's important now is that they got to block people at the line of scrimmage and be productive.
Glover lacks the speed of an Alex Smith, but they are not afraid to give him the football. 3rd and 4 for Indiana. From the shotgun, Greenlee at quarterback, dumps it over the middle to the big man, and it goes incomplete. In and out of the hands of Steve Lee, and Aaron Collins really laid a helmet into the chest of Steve Lee, the Indiana fullback.
This is a catchable ball, and when you've got third down situations, you've got an opportunity to make a play right there. Steve Lee has got to find a way to catch that ball and hang on to it. When you catch the ball going over the middle, you know there's going to be contact.
Sutkowski to kick again. His first punt aimed towards the left side, went out of bounds just 25 yards downfield. Now he'll push it to the other side, taken by the short back at the 38-yard line. Mike Archie, the tailback, just about a 10-yard return, forced out of bounds just short of the midfield line. Sutkowski, not a big booming punter, but today he definitely has a different agenda, and that is to try to keep it away from the very dangerous special teams guys at Penn State.
And there was really some question as to whether Alan Sutkowski was going to be able to punt in today's game. In last week's game, he pulled a muscle in his hip. It's good to see him out there because he has had a very successful season, averaging 43 yards a punt coming into this game.
Yep, they'll take away the distance today and let him try to move the football and put it in a placement situation, if you will. Penn State to go on the offense from the 46-yard line of the Indiana Hoosiers. Don't forget, too, we've got a little bit of wind down in this football field today. Pressure on. Richardson just throws it up. Watch out. Could be picked off. Overrunning the football defensively for Indiana was number 31, Joey Elands. He tried to cut back but could not get his footing.
Wally Richardson does a nice job of getting rid of the ball before the pressure. We see number 47, the linebacker Matt Surface, coming on the blitz. As we talked with Joe Novak, the defensive coordinator, last night, Mike, he mentioned one of the things they were going to do is they were going to come with the blitz early against Richardson to see if he could handle the pressure. And what they wanted to do was come with 4 people from one side of the offensive formation.
2nd and 10. Richardson shows play action, now dumps it off into the flat, slipping in front of number 47, Matt Surface. The receiver, number 40, Stephen Pitts, the senior.
Good call by Franny Ganner, the offensive coordinator. First down. Indiana comes with the blitz. They get pressure. Penn State comes right back off of the play action, throwing the screen to their tailback, Stephen Pitts. One of the effective ways to try to control the pass rush of the defense is with the screen. The other way is utilizing the draw play, which Penn State will do as the game goes on.
Loss of 2 brings up a 3rd and 12. Richardson, time, dumps it over through the intended receiver, John Whitman, the fullback in the flat, and it'll bring up the Penn State punting situation. And there you see the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year, Chris Ditto, stretching out, and Greenlee with the hat on. So we might see Ditto on this next series for the Hoosiers.
What was interesting on that last play, Mike, is that Wally Richardson really didn't set his feet the way he wants to throw the ball. That's why the ball sailed on him, because he didn't have the proper structure of the platform of his feet to get the good, strong throw.
Daryl Kenya to punt for the first time this afternoon. Driving punt, taken at the 25-yard line. And returned to about the 34-yard line by Indiana's number 18, Eric Smedley. And indeed, we do see Chris Ditto from the Indiana sideline, and so Ditto will get into the football game for the first time this afternoon. Eric Ditto, the starting quarterback when we started the season for Indiana, had missed the last two games, Iowa and Michigan, with a knee injury. Of course, he had the big game against Penn State 1 year ago, and he will also run the no-huddle and start from the shotgun. Ditto over the middle, complete. A reception made on the play by Ajamu Stoner. And a flag, a late flag, comes down on the football field. Stoner close to a first down, a gain of 11 yards. He probably got the yardage if the play holds. Going to add on in the face mask.
Mike, what we've seen is a tremendous shift in field position. You might remember Indiana took the last possession at their 20. They took this possession at the 35-yard line, immediately get a completion, plus the penalty. They're already on the Penn State 40.
Now they work it again in the hurry-up. Out to the flat, complete again. So coming out of the box, Chris Ditto has completed his first two passes. Eric Matthews made the reception. Mark Tate stopped him after a gain of 7.
Mike, so important for the Indiana offense, but more important for that young man right there, Chris Ditto, to come out positive. He's got tremendous ability to throw the football, and he showed on his first two completions a lot of confidence in getting the ball thrown to his receivers.
Indiana on the move. Final minute of the first quarter here in Penn State. Sean Glover, the ball carrier, and he gets the Indiana first down. This defense, or pardon me, this offense of Indiana have been so injured all season long. It is nice to see them potentially get some kind of rhythm going, because it's hard, Coach, when you don't have the personnel that you're used to in the football game.
Exactly. Mike, this is really the closest Indiana has come on their offensive line of scrimmage to having their first unit working together, and we're seeing some movement against that Penn State defense.
From the gun, 28-yard line of Penn State. Over the middle, intercepted. Intercepted by Aaron Collins. And he has got a lot of blue jerseys to help block. Collins still on his feet. Inbounds inside the 20. Aaron Collins for the Penn State touchdown. Great block on the play by Clint Holes. 76 yards on the return.
We're going to get another look at it. Chris Ditto, the interception is caused by the ball being thrown behind Ajamu Stoner. Great job by Collins of picking it up. We mentioned the block by number 13, Clint Holes, that really opened the door.
There's the block downfield by number 13. Great block, and 76 yards later, Collins makes it 13-0. Conway to tie the school record for PATs. 70 consecutive PATs for Brett Conway. Last play of the first quarter, a big one for the Nittany Lions. It is 14-0 Penn State. End of the first. Third interception of the year thrown by Chris Ditto, a costly one, returned to now officially 80 yards by Aaron Collins for the second Penn State score. And the big story is Indiana now falls to -13 in the turnover margin, their 23rd turnover of the year. Conway, a good deep kick through the end zone, and it'll come out to the 20-yard line, and Indiana will start there offensively.
Indiana starts first and 10 from its own 20-yard line.
Chris Ditto, the quarterback, trying to regroup, but this is the play, Coach.
The replay we're going to see as Ditto makes the throw that he's going to be behind the receiver. He's got an open receiver, and the ball was just thrown behind. And as we talked to Bill Mallory, it has concerned him about Chris Ditto not being real confident with his throws, and when you're not confident, you hold up just a little bit, causing that ball to be thrown behind.
From the 20-yard line. And the football off to Sean Glover. He pushes with a strong arm. Now Glover's got room. A gain of about 16 yards, forced out of bounds at the 36-yard line.
One of the important things that coaches have to do at this point in the game is settle your team down. We saw when Chris Ditto came off after the interception that Adam Greenlee, his teammate, was there. The coaches were there. You've got to settle your team down. This football game's got a lot of time left, and they have been moving the ball, Mike.
7th carry on the day for Glover, this time from the shotgun. Ditto. Time. Intercepted. Overthrew Eric Matthews. Another Penn State interception. Brian Miller, number 34, and that again just a poorly thrown football.
Once again, Mike, the receiver is open as he was on the first interception. This ball is overthrown, sailing high. Once again, usually the basic reason for the ball being thrown high is the footwork of the quarterback. And there we saw at the end of the replay, the offensive lineman actually had backed up into Chris Ditto's face, causing that ball to go high.
Look at the turnover margin. I mentioned it earlier. 10 takeaways, now 24 giveaways in 1995. Near the bottom in Division 1A, and you will not win football games making mistakes like that. 4th interception thrown on the season by Chris Ditto, who has not played in 2.5 weeks. 14-0 Penn State. Great field position. 34-yard line of Indiana. Richardson with all kinds of time. Looks towards Freddie Scott. Was he inbounds? No. Incomplete. Bring up the 2nd and 10. Brad Johnson with the coverage for the Hoosiers. And Indiana has given up a bundle of points after the turnovers. Of course, the last one returned for the touchdown. That's a 7-pointer right there, but Bill Mallory mentioned it. Now opponents converted 24 takeaways into 73 points this season. He said, hey, it's simple, guys. Take away those 73 points, and we are not 2-5, 0-4 in the conference.
Absolutely, and that's true of any team in the country that struggles with big plays, Mike. You look at those half a dozen plays or so and see how it could just completely turn your season around.
2nd and 10 now for Wally Richardson and the Nittany Lion offense. A little delay to Mike Archie. Archie has some good blockers, and he is near the first down. A gain of 9 from Mike Archie, the ball carrier.
Mike, I really like the play call on the Frank Ganner. First play following the turnover, they went for the touchdown. That's a good call because oftentimes following a turnover, defensive teams come on the field, their heads are down, their morale is not good, and a lot of times they're not quite organized. He comes right back after the drop back pass, 2nd down long. He knows he's going to get a pass rush. He uses the draw to neutralize him.
3rd and 1. They give to the big man, and he pulls his way ahead. John Whitman for the first down. Chris Ditto, some attention drawn to his left hand, the non-throwing hand on the Indiana sideline.
Mike, one of the things that jumps out about the Penn State offense is the balance that they achieved. Coming into this game, they were the 2nd rushing team in the Big Ten, 231 yards a game. They were number 3 in passing, 233 yards, 2 yards difference between your rushing and your passing totals.
So another first down, I formation for the Nittany Lions just outside the 20-yard line. The sun's starting to come out here on homecoming Saturday afternoon. Stephen Pitts gets the ball carry. Pitts was injured most of the season with the stress fracture suffered in the preseason. He's a senior. Jabbar Robinson, the youngster, made the stop for Indiana.
In visiting yesterday with Joe Paterno, the thing that has made him feel so good about Stephen Pitts has been his attitude as he got healthy and got back into the tailback race. You had Mike Archie there. You had Curtis Ennis there. and Stephen was patient, waiting for his opportunity.
And took advantage of it last week against Iowa. Now the pitch for the man we spoke of inside the 10-yard line. Another Penn State first down. Stephen Pitts, the senior from Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, a gain of 6 yards on the carry. As I mentioned, Coach, stress fracture right in the beginning of the preseason, and he came out in a battle 1-2 with Mike Archie, played the special teams, never said anything about it, finally broke through last week, and Joe Paterno simply said, couldn't happen to a nicer kid who has done such a great job of being a team player.
Yeah, he really has. He's taken his role as a special teams player. And the other thing that was interesting is we asked Coach Paterno, why did he play him against Iowa? He said, I just felt after watching him practice that he had a hot hand.
Pitts to the hot hand again to the outside. Pitts towards the end zone. Touchdown, Lions. Great lead block by John Whitman. Stephen Pitts finds the end zone. 8-yard touchdown run. Penn State leads 20-0.
You got to be impressed with the way Stephen Pitts, number 40, attacks the line of scrimmage, attacks the goal line. He gets his shoulders turned downfield. We're going to see a great block on number 45 by the fullback, number 38, John Whitman, clearing the way for Pitts into the end zone.
4 points coming off Indiana turnovers. This is for the school record. Brett Conway, his 71st consecutive PAT. That is now a Penn State Nittany Lion record. Congratulations to the young man, Brett Conway, the junior from Lilbourne, Georgia. Take a look at the touchdown run by Stephen Pitts. Scampers over the left side. Lions are in control.
On the touchdown run, we see a great job by 2 wide receivers. Number 10, Bobby Ingram. Number 31, Freddie Scott, paving the way for Stephen Pitts into the end zone. It's enjoyable to watch outstanding receivers do more than simply catch the ball.
Wilkerson and Elam's back deep to receive for Indiana. Taking it to 3-yard line. By Joey Elam's number 31. He returns back to the 24. Let's check down to the sidelines with Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk?
One thing that's very obvious about this drive for Indiana, they have got to get some points on the board. Right now, if you look at the attitude of the team, they're not quite complaining with one another, but they are getting a little bit discouraged. Down 21-0 on the road is not a good thing. This team needs to get some points on this drive.
And the positive coming into today, Kirk, was the defensive play of the Indiana Hoosiers, but being put in bad positions again, as it's been all season long, by their offense.
When you give up 2 touchdowns as a result of interception returns, your defense hasn't been on the field to participate in any of the point scoring.
Protection on Chris Ditto, goes the other way, completes the pass up to the 27-yard line. Steve Lee tried to scamper around Terry Killens, gets just a gain of a couple of yards. And remember, the first Penn State turnover, the first interception was returned, so it wasn't even one that goes against the defense. Really, the defense responsible for the first score. That was the impressive drive that opened the football game.
Exactly, and that's the thing that, as Kirk mentioned, coming into the ball game, Indiana was doing a good job handling adversity, but that you have to have some success after a while.
And they do there. Brad Johnson makes the stop for Penn State, but not until the completion to Eric Matthews for 13 yards and a first down.
We see a look of the Indiana quarterbacks on the sideline signaling the plays in, and this is the communication that the Indiana coaches use to get the plays from the sideline to their quarterback. Once Ditto gets the plays you can see on the field, then he relays it to the rest of the offensive team.
From the 40, first down. In trouble, football squirts free. 3rd turnover of the afternoon. The ball right into the hands of Todd Atkins. Big hit by Brandon Noble. Todd Atkins gets the football, and Penn State has come up with 3 turnovers already in the first half.
Penn State doing a real good job of getting pressure up the field. Got contact with Ditto just as he started to release the football. We're going to see the pressure coming from number 92, Terry Killens. The ball pops up into the air, and we've got our 3rd turnover early in this football game.
They rule it a fumble, not an interception. Watch again. Killens, the man we talked about, and his partner on the outside, Todd Atkins, come up big for the Nittany Lions. Go back with great field position. Football spotted on the 31-yard line. Play action. Richardson looking towards the sideline. Incomplete. Overthrew his intended receiver. Let's check in at the studio with Kenny Mayne.
All right, guys, for something entirely different, we got a close game. Michigan State and Wisconsin. Wisconsin up 7-0. Michigan State going for the tie, and they get it. Scott Green inside, big pig pile scores. They kick the extra point. It's a 7-7 game. Now back to ours.
Thank you, Kenny. Now, some of you may recall Penn State, their 2 losses on the year. One of those was here at Beaver Stadium to the Wisconsin Badgers. Their other, of course, to the Ohio State Buckeyes. Penn State 5-2. They fumble the exchange and flags all over the football field. As Kirk mentioned at the beginning of the day, those 2 losses coming at home consecutively. Never under Joe Paterno as Penn State lost three straight here in State College.
There's so many superlatives.
Legal snap on the offense. 5 yards, still second down.
Kick off the weekend right with ESPN's College Football Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. Join Brad Netzler and Gary Danielson as they travel to Charlottesville, Virginia, where the 20th-ranked Virginia Cavaliers look to stop Danny Canal and the top-ranked Florida State Seminoles. It's Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific on ESPN. And there is the man who has been here for 46 years. The last 30 is the head coach, Joe Paterno. The pitch back. Ball carrier Stephen Pitts met in the backfield nicely by Lewis Pinnock, number 95 of the Indiana defensive unit.
Now, Mike, when we talk about Joe Paterno, so many superlatives can be mentioned. The fact that they haven't ever lost 3 consecutive games here in Beaver Stadium is an amazing accomplishment. But when you look at his record, he's won 274 games as the head coach, 79.2% winning percentage. Just awesome.
Loss of 2 on the last play, so after the penalty, it's now 3rd and 17 for Wally Richardson. Richardson gets the protection again. Now he had his center kind of back off on him, and he almost threw the interception. Freddie Scott, the intended receiver, but it went in and out of the hands of the junior Matt Surface, number 47.
Indiana defense has certainly responded to the challenge of the turnover. They've come out and stopped them. And what they've got to do now is they've got to look for bright spots, Mike, and this is one here. They've handed the ball over deep in their territory to Penn State. Their defense goes out and stops them. And as Kirk mentioned, now the offense has to generate something.
Darryl Kenya to punt it away. A little bit out of the range of Brett Conway, so Kenya to try to pinch in the Indiana Hoosiers. Their catch signaled for, but that'll be a touchback, and Indiana will come back to the 20-yard line. 38-yard punt for Kenya. Penn State converting. Indiana turnovers. They lead 21-0. Chris Ditto to try to get it going again since he came in the football game 3 possessions ago. Interception for touchdown, interception, fumble. This time the defense stands pat, and it's 21-0. Ditto 4 for 6, but the 2 picks, the meaningful number on his statistical line thus far. Gives to Glover. He works around the right side. Glover gets a block, and he's up in the air, and Indiana first down. Met by Kim Herring, the free safety, number 3.
It's so important, Mike, that Chris Ditto get his head up and be a leader in the huddle. He's got a football team right now that needs a spark, and as the quarterback, that's your job. You've got to be the leader. You've got to be the guy that steps forward and provides the spark for your football team. And Indiana has moved the ball.
Well, Indiana uses the huddle that time. Glover 8 carries, 52 yards on the afternoon. He is the lone setback for Mallory's team. 2nd and inches. Little stutter step. Glover trying to find a hole, and he's going to be once again very close to the first down yardage. Gerald Filardi, the middle linebacker, makes the stop for Penn State. They do motion first down Indiana.
One of the important things for the Indiana coaches, offense coordinator George Ballou, is that you go back to your game plan. You came into this ball game feeling there were certain things you can do. There were 3 or 4 runs that Indiana liked. They liked the play action pass, and then they liked Chris Ditto dropping back, throwing the football. Go back to the things that you believe in.
Gives again to Sean Glover. Remember Glover a couple of weeks ago against Iowa, 48 carries, so he's a workhorse. Hit by Filardi, a gain of 6 yards on the play.
He's a workhorse, Mike. George Ballou, who's their coordinator, is also their offensive line coach, and as we talked to him, he said the impressive thing about Sean Glover is that he can run very tough, between the tackles. And this is something that he has done effectively early against this Penn State defense.
Now, the offense has had to be revamped and revamped again this year for the Indiana Hoosiers. Of course, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Alex Smith still suffering from the broken ribs against Northwestern, not in the lineup. Michael Batts, the number 2 tailback, out for the year with a blown-out knee. Now Ditto with time. And he completes the pass to Eric Matthews. No, they're going to wave it incomplete, trapping the football. And Terry Killens had good pressure on the quarterback. Now, I mentioned the offensive injuries. Alex Smith still out of the lineup. These, Coach, are the key offensive injuries. Michael Batts blows out the knee, could be career-threatening. That was a practice injury. Chris Ditto returns today after missing 2.5 games. Eric Matthews missed 3 games and out indefinitely. Darren Ward and somebody we haven't talked about, Monolopoulos, the all-star kicker for the Hoosiers.
So many of their key skill players, the guys that put points on the board. And the other thing that does not show up on that graphic is that their offensive line has been patched together since early in their preseason practice.
From the shotgun, 3rd and 3, Ditto over the middle, first down. Completion on the play for 9 yards goes to Sean Glover. The stop was made by number 47, Gerald Filardi.
Mike, Chris Ditto looks comfortable in the shotgun. What the shotgun does is the advantage to the quarterback is it puts him at the depth that he would normally have to drop back from the center. That gives him a better look downfield at not only his receivers, but of the coverage of the Penn State defense. And Ditto has appeared very comfortable in that position early in the game.
Clock running, just over 8 minutes remaining in the first half. Ditto works play action. Ditto pressure on, throws the football away, and it hits the ground incomplete. Aaron Collins came from his linebacking position and got right in the face of Chris Ditto.
One of the things that Mike Sandusky, Jerry Sandusky, the defensive coordinator for Penn State, likes to do is he likes to bring one extra linebacker in pressure. That time we saw Aaron Collins come from his linebacker position along with the down 4. He then simply voids that zone in their coverage, something that Jerry really likes to use as far as being able to get extra pressure on the quarterback.
Brings up the 2nd and 10. From the 46-yard line of Indiana. Glover, left side. Glover with room, works through the block. We're going to have a face mask penalty and a flag on the play. Clint Holes and Aaron Collins got there, but working around the outside effectively, Sean Glover to about the 49-yard line of Penn State. So an indication of holding against the Hoosiers, so it's going to come back.
Holding on the offense, 10 yards from the flag, still 2nd down.
The way they came after the ball carrier, Sean Glover, you thought Bill Mallory might get a break, a face mask call. Instead, it has been that kind of year for Bill Mallory, a year in which he came in pretty much upbeat, but Mallory is a competitor, and his guys have responded. You'll never see Bill Mallory hang his head in disgust in a long-term situation. He'll always be positive, and his kids, he told us, all the coaching staff said, have continued to fight hard through this period of adversity.
Bill Mallory is one of the tough, hard-nosed coaches in the game. He's out of the Miami of Ohio cradle of coaches, influenced by people like Woody Hayes. He's tough. He's not going to give up.
And Chris Ditto will not get through the arms of Terry Killens. He got right into the line. Now the flag goes down late. Killens earns the sack, got right past the center, Jay Side. Flag on the play. Ditto potentially sacked. We'll await the call.
Good ball. Personal foul on the offense. The down counts is 3rd down.
A little frustration for Jay Side.
On the replay, we see number 92, Terry Killens, showing his athletic ability. He started with the outside rush, and then he came on the inside move and simply hurdled the offensive tackle on his way to get to the quarterback.
That just adds insult to injury. They march the football back inside the Indiana 20-yard line.
One of the things that's so important for any athlete in a competitive situation when things are not going your way is to maintain your poise and not show frustration openly, as the Indiana penalty showed right there.
3rd and 37 after the big loss. The sack and the yardage tacked on after the personal foul. Dumped and intercepted again. Ditto just threw it up for grabs, and coming away with the football, the up man, Brad Scioli. interception of the afternoon thrown by Chris Ditto on a 3rd and 37.
Mike, really not a good decision. And so much of quarterbacking is decision-making. If you don't have a receiver open, throw the ball away or take the sack. See here, the pressure starts to come right there, and he doesn't have a receiver open. Take the sack. Everyone might understand, what is a defensive lineman like Brad Scioli doing wearing number 5? He was a high school quarterback, Mike.
He got his first career interception. Stephen Pitts, the ball carrier for Penn State, stopped basically at the line of scrimmage. 3 interceptions thrown by Chris Ditto, 4 turnovers on the day by the Indiana Hoosiers, and we still have 6 minutes and 50-plus seconds to play in the first half. Penn State looking to find the end zone once again and make it 28-0.
One of the interesting things happen in college defensive selection is to get better athletes on the field. We see number 5, Brad Scioli, as a high school quarterback, and that is something that is so prevalent. Get more speed on the defensive field.
Richardson works from the 20, gives to Mike Archie, no play action. Richardson goes, throws for Bobby Ingram, incomplete. Eric Allen, good coverage on the play for Indiana.
Ingram was open, the ball just slightly overthrown, but also Eric Allen was there really contesting for the football. Nice coverage by Allen.
Richardson has missed his last 5 pass attempts. It's 21-0, and the big man Bobby Ingram has just 1 reception on the day. It's good news for Penn State, bad news for Indiana. 3rd and 10. Ingram lined up on the far side, and look who they give the football to. Bobby Ingram on the reverse, gets a block, works his way up to the 11-yard line. Short, though, of the first down yardage. Well, you want to get that guy involved in your offense as frequently as possible. Lewis Pinnock makes the stop for Indiana.
When you have receivers like Ingram, Freddie Scott, you mentioned the key. Get the ball in their hands and let those kind of people make plays.
3rd and less than 1, they are going to go for it. Pardon me, on 4th and 1, Joe Paterno makes the decision to try to move the football ahead, gain the first down yardage, and try to get into the end zone. 4th and 1. Hits the ball carrier, spins, first down Penn State. Second effort, and the spin gets the first down yardage.
Really a good, tough running situation for Stephen Pitts. And at 195 pounds, he really has great body lean. You see the spin, you see the extra effort, because initial contact came before he had picked up the first down.
Former prep All-American. Had just 2 carries in 2 years entering that Iowa game we mentioned earlier, in which he came away with 284 all-purpose yards. 1st and goal just inside the 10-yard line. Mike Archie in the backfield, number 2 for Penn State. They give the football to Archie, number 2, and he gets back to the initial line of scrimmage. Matt Surface had good pressure on that run attempt by the Penn State Nittany Lions for Indiana.
Nathan Davis, number 98, was in the backfield real quick and actually forced Archie off of his intended running path with the football.
We've seen all 3 already this afternoon. Mike Archie, number 2, Stephen Pitts, number 40, and Curtis Enos, number 39 of the Penn State Nittany Lions. There's number 2, Mike Archie, one of the 2 seniors. Freddie Scott goes into motion. Both wide receivers now on the left side. They give it to the fullback, John Whitman. He pulls his way to the 7, a gain of 3 yards on the play. Aaron Warnicki makes the stop for Indiana.
Mike, John Whitman is Penn State's leading scorer at this point in the season. From his fullback position, he doesn't get many opportunities out in the open field. But when they get into the red zone, he's the guy they go to. He has scored 9 touchdowns on the ground, a 10th touchdown with a pass reception.
Whitman had a career-high 3 rushing touchdowns last week against Iowa. He comes out of the game, and Brian Milne, number 22, checks into the fullback spot. Mike Archie, the tailback. 3rd and goal from the 7-yard line for Penn State. Richardson rolls right, looking, dumps it off, gets it to the big tight end, and he's stopped at the 3-yard line. Keith Alsheimer knocked out of bounds at the 3 by the Indiana defense. And the fans want Joe Putt to go again, but this will not happen. They'll bring on Brett Conway for the field goal.
You know, Mike, as we see Brett Conway come on the field, you mentioned that he's from Lilburn, Georgia. We're going to take a look here at the replay. The naked bootleg by Wally Richardson. He does a nice job of being patient, waiting for his tight end, Alsheimer, to come open.
20-yard field goal attempt by Brett Conway. Missed from 34 earlier today. Conway 2 of 2 on the air between 10 and 29 yards, and he makes his 3rd. So 3 of 3 inside 30, and it makes our score 24-0. Penn State, they capitalize on another IU turn. 24-0 Penn State. 3 minutes and 34 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Here on homecoming Saturday afternoon at beautiful Beaver Stadium, 94,000 plus, and other than for the Indiana faithful, it's turned out to be a beautiful day for football here in State College, Pennsylvania.
And certainly at this point, everything is going in Penn State's favor. There's 2 interesting contrasts when this happens. On the Penn State sideline, your points have come relatively easy. And you really want to make sure that your football team doesn't lose focus because they haven't had to work particularly hard. Over here on this Indiana sideline, we've got to get the heads up. Coaches have got to find a way to get a spark. And we've got 3 minutes and 34 seconds before the half. Hopefully, as an Indiana coach, you want to generate something before halftime.
Bouncing kick in and through the end zone. So they'll bring it back out to the 20-yard line. And the touchback. And Greenlee has his helmet back on, but let's see who comes out for quarterback. And it is Adam Greenlee. Back to quarterback the Indiana Hoosiers. Don't forget ESPN is your home for college football again next Saturday at 12:30. Illinois and Iowa collide in a Big Ten showdown. Then CFA primetime 7 o'clock. Texas Tech takes on Texas in an interstate matchup. Catch all the action on the College Game Day and scoreboard shows. College football next Saturday. So Adam Greenlee back in the football game. He was 3 for 4 for 20 yards. Played the first 2 series, I believe I recall. And then Chris Diddle just having a rough afternoon with 3 interceptions. Greenlee, first play, a broken play. It results in a sack by Terry Killens. Or at least a loss on the play. Killens getting into the backfield.
Mike, it appeared that the mistake on the play was on Adam Greenlee's part. The offensive line appeared to be blocking, and we see on the replay they were blocking the wide zone play to the left. The tailback went that way, and Greenlee just lost his focus, his concentration on what play had been called in the huddle.
Loss of 4 yards, 2nd and 14. Second and 14 now. Little delay to Sean Glover. Glover with absolutely nowhere to go. Met by a couple of blue jerseys. Anthony Cleary, the freshman, number 49, in amongst the tacklers.
Mike, we saw the brief confrontation over on the sideline. Something very uncharacteristic of a Penn State sideline. But Coach Paterno upset at his fine defensive end, Terry Killens. But, you know, in visiting with him, he told us the role of the head coach is to establish 2 things. One is discipline, an environment for discipline, and an environment for a commitment to winning.
They did credit Killens with the sack, his 3rd of the day. He is back in the football game, and throwing under quick pressure was Adam Greenlee. And man, oh man, did the defensive unit of Penn State come that time.
Perhaps what Coach Paterno said to Terry Killens on the sideline ignited that whole defense, because tremendous pressure that time on quarterback number 6, Adam Greenlee.
Ambrose Fletcher, one of the guys with the pressure on that play. Now it'll be a punting situation from deep inside Indiana territory. As Sapkowski to kick with 2 minutes and 12 seconds, so lots of time for Penn State to try to put another one in the end zone, and a horrible kick. Does take a favorable Indiana bounce, and it will roll out of bounds at the 45-yard line of Penn State. 36-yard punt, obviously no return. Sapkowski way below his average today, that's for sure. Don't forget the GMAC halftime report coming up next. Susie Culver in our studios. She'll have, or pardon me, Kenny Mayne in the studios will have all the action from today's college football and much more on the GMAC halftime report. Mallory's team in search of their first victory in the Big Ten. They have lost 4 straight, all of those in the conference. Last year, they struggled at the end of the season, losing 4 of their last 5 games, but they did win the important one to the Indiana faithful, and that is against Purdue, the old Oaken Bucket in the bragging rights.
Exactly, but right now, Coach Mallory's thoughts are a long way from Purdue. He's got to find something, Mike, to get his football team turned around. And this is where, as a former coach, you really have empathy for Bill, because you know in his heart he's searching to do anything he can to spark his football team.
He told us they had a great week of preparation. The summer they had 44 of their top 45 guys all in camp. Everything seemed to be, all the pieces of the puzzle were falling into place for a big season. Then all of a sudden the injury bug, the worst that Mallory's ever seen in his career. Nonetheless, they're in a big hole here at Penn State, trailing 24-0. Turnovers the story, and John Whitman gets the pass, and he works towards the midfield line.
Really a nice job by middle linebacker, number 45, Jamie Beasley, seeing the screen. They were in a blitz, man coverage. That was his man. Nice job of making the play.
Now the football squirts free on a 2nd and 11 play for the Nittany Lions. It's Jason Kaler, number 99, the sophomore, got the pressure. Timeout called by Joe Paterno and the Penn State Nittany Lions with 1 minute and 28 seconds left in the first half, and a 3rd and long forthcoming. First timeout of the half. Indiana used one earlier.
In the second quarter.
And we will take the break with 1:28 remaining in the half. Back to Penn State. Mike Goldberg, Bill Lewis, 24-0 Nittany Lions. There on the offense, 3rd and long situation. Richardson with time throws towards Bobby Ingram, goes incomplete. Penn State will have to punt the football with 1:23 on the clock. Big Ten standings look like this, as the Northwestern Wildcats, of course, enjoying a great season. Ohio State at 3-0, 7-0 overall. But the story here is you take a look at the numbers down through the conference. Northwestern trailing at Illinois right now, midpoint of the second quarter, 14-3. Next week, Penn State is at Northwestern, and then the Nittany Lions host Michigan, and then finish their season at Michigan State. So, big matchup next week in the Big Ten, Northwestern and Penn State, and then Penn State, a big one the next week home. So, Penn State's season really rides on the next couple of weeks with the big matchups in the Big Ten Conference play. Taken at the 22-yard line. Eric Smedley. Smedley's return back to about the 35, a return of 13 yards after a 39-yard kick. 1:13 left, Coach. I mean, you're thinking the same thing I am. You got to try to generate some type of momentum to go to the line.
My thought on offensive play calling is always to be aggressive. You're only going to have so many offensive snaps in the game, and you can't afford to waste any. I don't believe you're reckless in your play calling. I certainly don't think you're careless, but I think you always need to be aggressive in that situation.
Well, you look at those numbers, and this is a good starting spot for the Indiana Hoosiers today. Adam Greenlee again at quarterback over the middle, and he threw behind his intended receiver Eric Matthews, and Brandon Noble got a hand on the football. Now, if Noble comes away with that one, though, that's a highlight reel play for sure.
Exactly, because he's one of their interior defensive linemen. An interesting situation. He dropped off into coverage. One of the things that defenses will do to try to take away the shallow crossing route, and as we saw in the replay, what the quarterback has to do is he has to allow that receiver to clear that defender, and then he'd have a window to throw it.
2nd and 10, Greenlee from the shotgun. Throws it complete, but it goes incomplete now with the good coverage on the play by Clint Holes, the hero. Pass was intended for Sean Glover.
We're going to see on the replay, number 13, Clint Holes, the hero, strong safety, sitting on that short inside route, and then a very aggressive break to the football. One of the things that you want your pass defenders to do is when the ball is in the air, to break on that football and go through the receiver to get it. That's what Knowles did.
3rd and 10, 4 wide outs for the Indiana Hoosiers. Greenlee works ahead of the pressure, now dumps it off just below the line of scrimmage. It's going to be close to the first down yardage. Rich Kearney made the reception for the Hoosiers. A gain of 11 and a first down for Indiana. 57 seconds remaining in the half as they move the chains.
What is interesting here, Mike, is that they're not going from their no-huddle offense, because this is when typically teams will do it when they're inside that 2-minute mark.
4 wideouts again. Glover the lone setback from the shotgun. Adam Greenlee in relief of Chris Ditto. Now Greenlee completes it. The pass reception made by Ajama Stoner. Gerald Filardi, the middle linebacker, had the pressure. A gain of 5 yards on the play. Clock continues to run with 42 seconds left. So inside Penn State territory. Now Greenlee waits, pumps, and throws it through the hands of Dorian Wilkerson, number 8.
Coaches talk about making plays, the importance of making plays, and it's what you stress on the practice field, to practice at a full speed tempo. Mike, practice making plays, so when you get in that situation in the game, you've practiced it over and over again. We've seen several times in this first half where the Indiana receivers have had catchable balls, and they simply have not held onto the football.
Don't forget the GMAC halftime report forthcoming with Kenny Mayne. Dumped off into the flat. Sean Glover. Glover tried to avoid the would-be tackler. Cannot do so. Open field tackle made on the play. Mark Tate, number 33. And it'll be a 4th and 4 from the 48. Mallory, with the final seconds ticking away, will go for it. Clock moving with now 10 seconds remaining in the first half. Scampering near side. Greenlee keeps it himself, and he is close to the first down. That will be the last play of the first half. Nonetheless, Aaron Collins makes the stop. Truly the story in the first 30 minutes. Turnovers. Penn State scores 17 points off of Indiana's 4 turns. We are at the half.
A lot on the scoreboard without having to work for it very hard, and that's the concern that Coach Paterno expressed on his offensive football team.
Indiana will start from their own 20-yard line. Another good kickoff, and it will be Adam Greenlee at quarterback. Now, if you joined us late, Coach, let's set the story. Indiana has played 2 quarterbacks. Ditto has been out the last 2 weeks due to a knee injury. Greenlee started the game, but Ditto came in on the 3rd series. Ditto has thrown 3 interceptions. Greenlee back in the football game now for Mallory.
Exactly, and what I think we might see is they might start the second half as if it was the start of the ball game. Put Greenlee back on the field and then go with Chris Ditto as you did at the start of the ball game.
Indiana, who has moved the ball well, as Kirk alluded to, goes incomplete on the first pass attempt. Clint Holes on the coverage of the big tight end, Ben Klusmeyer, the sophomore.
Greenlee really makes a good throw to that tight end down the middle, and it's been one of the things that the Penn State defense has struggled with. We get an aggressive play by the strong safety, their hero, number 13, Clint Holes. That's his 2nd pass breakup of the day.
Springs Church, Pennsylvania. Shoulder surgery in the offseason. Early in the year, not 100%. Now he is, and so is this man, Sean Glover, the one healthy tailback from Mallory's team. Goes around the outside, met by Mark Tate after a gain of 7.
Mike, Kirk Herbstreit made a point when we went to him before the start of the half that Indiana is averaging 9 yards per rush against this Penn State team. And these are the things that they've got to really stress as this second half gets underway.
Well, as the second half gets underway, weather has deteriorated a bit here in State College, Pennsylvania. A little bit of rain, and the Jackets have come out to the faithful. But what a beautiful sight it is. Beaver Stadium, 94,000 plus on homecoming afternoon. 3rd and 3 for Indiana. Greenlee under pressure, bounced to his backside by Brad Scioli, number 5. And it's help from Mark Tate on the play.
Penn State on a 3rd down situation came with the blitz. We see their linebackers coming into the picture, number 44, Jim Nelson. Good job by the secondary in man-to-man situation, causing Greenlee not to have anyone to throw to.
And another punting situation for Alan Sutkowski. This time he gets away a booming punt that bounces inside the 20-yard line, picked up by Bobby Ingram at the 12. Ingram scampers back, still on his feet, out to the 32-yard line. 64-yard punt, 20-yard return, as Scott Stevens made the special teams play.
What a kick here, and watch the job Bobby Ingram turns, and in a dead sprint simply can't catch up with the football. But one of the things that happens when you kick a ball 64 yards is you truly do out-kick your coverage. It doesn't give them an opportunity to get down. It doesn't give them an opportunity to fill the lanes. Ingram took advantage of that with the return.
Quiet receiving day for Bobby Ingram, the most prolific passer in Penn State history. They give the football to number 2, Mike Archie. Archie works around the left side, in for the first down. Archie chased from behind by Eric Smedley, a gain of 12 yards on the play. Penn State really playing well in the second half this season, Coach.
They certainly are. Those are staggering numbers, an 80-point differential in their second half scoring. Their first half stats, which we don't show, they outscored their opponents by only 4 points. So this is going to be critical for the Indiana defense to respond to the challenge that Penn State has put on their opponents in the second half.
They've had 3 fourth-quarter comebacks this year. They won't need one today. At least we don't think so at this point. John Whitman pulls his way up ahead past the 50-yard line. Good second effort by John Whitman for the gain of 6.
One of the things early in the second half, it appears that Joe Paterno and Frank Ganner, their offensive coordinator, at halftime said to that big line of scrimmage, we're coming back to you. We're going to try to go back and reestablish a couple basic things on the ground, and that's what they've done in this first possession.
As Kirk alluded to, Paterno not truly pleased with the offensive efforts. I think he'd like to see a drive very much like the way they opened up the football game, Coach, that we talked about, where they just methodically gave the defense a chance to stop them and then just rammed it down their throat. Mike Archie now does that, works around the left side. Archie inside the 25-yard line, forced out of bounds by Aaron Warnicki. 28-yard gain for Mike Archie, the tailback.
This is the first time in the game that we have seen the counter gap play. Watch number 50, Jeff Hardings, on the pull and doing a great job of creating the hole for the big run by Archie.
Archie, the big gainer, now 7 carries, 67 yards on the play. Football spotted at the 22-yard line of Indiana, 1st and 10. Stephen Pitts to the 15-yard line, a gain of 7. We need to recognize the man you spoke of a moment ago, Coach. Jeff Hardings, number 50, an All-American 1 year ago, his 27th straight start. Earlier this week, he was the recipient of the National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete Award. That is about as prestigious an academic honor as a football player can get.
Absolutely. A scholar athlete can't receive anything higher than the National Football Foundation Hall of Fame Scholar Athlete. Jeff Harding's in for a treat. They have a banquet in New York City honoring those groups in early December.
And a carry by the big man again, John Whitman over the right side. Hardings with a 3.28 grade point average. And he is, in the description of his coaches, the prototypical collegiate student athlete, performs well, works hard in the weight room, and finds the energy and time to continue to get great grades. This kid will be a success in whatever he chooses to do in the future.
Absolutely. He's a marketing major, and he's going to have an opportunity to market himself, I think, playing this game at a higher level. But, you know, Fran Ganner told us yesterday, Mike, that he is the role model for all of the young players in the Penn State program.
1st and 10, just outside the 10-yard line of Indiana. Opening series for Penn State here in the second half. Richardson under pressure. Good performance by Matt Surface as he broke through. Richardson was looking for the quick hit. Jason Kaler was there to help. And Matt Surface, a guy who's played well today for Indiana.
Joe Novak, their coordinator, has told us that Matt Surface is the big play guy. They brought him on the inside blitz. Richardson was looking for Bobby Ingram on the quick slant, and I think he had him, just was not able to get rid of the football.
You notice the cast on the left hand. Surface playing with a broken thumb that he suffered last week.
He came out of that ball game when he broke the thumb for just a short period of time, and Joe Novak said he's one of the real tough, hard-nosed players on the field, and he's out playing a heck of a game today.
Loss of 6. 2nd and 16 from the 17. Towards the end zone, incomplete. Keith Alsomer, the tight end, the intended receiver. Coverage on the play by Aaron Warnicki.
We're going to see pressure coming from the backside from number 98, Nathan Davis, who already has 5 sacks, and he really was the guy that forced Richardson to throw that ball just a little bit before he wanted to, because his tight end, big number 87, Alsamer, was working open in the end zone.
Warnicki, the leading tackler, coming in, just a sophomore from Fairland, Indiana. Brings up a 3rd and 16 situation for the Nittany Lions, again from the 17-yard line. Rolling left. Richardson looking, end zone, touchdown. Bobby Ingram.
This is going to be enjoyable to watch Bobby Ingram up top. Watch him turn the defender around. He gives him a good, hard move into the post, came back to the corner. What makes that so effective is the great timing on the part of the quarterback, Wally Richardson. When he made his break, separated from the defensive back, Richardson had the ball thrown on time, touchdown, Penn State.
2 record holders, Coach. 28th career touchdown reception for Bobby Ingram. Of course, Brett Conway with 3, now 4 PATs today, 72 consecutive PATs, also a school record. Bobby Ingram, the most prolific receiver in Penn State history, makes the score 31-0.
27 broke Jackson's record, I believe.
I believe that's right.
ESPN2's College Football is brought to you by DirecTV. Introducing personalized TV.
Welcome you back to State College, Pennsylvania. The 76th homecoming for the Nittany Lions, and they have won 31 of their last 34. They're in control, leading 31-0 over the Indiana Hoosiers. From the end zone, taken by number 3, Eric Matthews, and good special teams coverage on the play by the Nittany Lions. Bobby Ingram, 28 career touchdown receptions, just broke the school record a couple of weeks ago, Coach.
And the man whose record he broke is wide receiver coach Kenny Jackson, his own coach. So I'm sure they have a lot of fun with that. We see Coach Jackson on the sideline there with the Navy windbreaker, and just a neat story to have a great receiver come back to his alma mater, join the coaching staff, and then have his prized pupil break his record.
Became the receptions leader against Wisconsin earlier this year. Number 2 in the Big Ten. Ball carrier Sean Glover for Indiana, met by Mark Tate of Penn State.
Stopped by number 47, Gerald Maloney, and 33, Martin Tate.
Getting back to Coach Kenny Jackson, Kenny was part of Penn State's first national championship team in 1982, and then went on and had an 8-year career in the National Football League with both the Philadelphia Eagles and the Houston Oilers. So he's got Bobby Ingram has got a great teacher and someone that he can look to and say, hey, this guy knows what it's all about at this level and at the level in the NFL.
Gain of 4 by Glover, 2nd and 6 for Indiana. Play action, pressure on. Greenlee eludes the rush, takes a late hit, throws the football away. Brandon Noble got a hit on Adam Greenlee, but he released the ball just before Noble was able to get to him.
We're going to see the pressure by the Penn State defense. Number 5, Scioli, really forces Greenlee out of the area that he wants to throw the ball. 93, Brandon Noble with the foot speed to close on him. The one thing Adam Greenlee did is made a good decision in throwing the ball away to avoid the turnover that has just plagued him in the first half of this game.
Third down. Greenlee, good pickup block by Glover, throws it in and through the hands of his intended receiver. We've got a late flag on the play. Jim Nelson defensively for Penn State defended Dorian Wilkerson very well. May have done it a bit too well, though.
Pass interference.
Yep. Got there just a bit early.
On the defense.
We'll see on the replay. Good call on the part of the officials. And the rule in the game of college football is when the ball is in the air, you cannot make contact with the receiver before the ball gets to the catching point of the receiver. Very clearly, Nelson had contact before that point.
It's number 36, Corey Carlson, being attended to. by the training staff of the Nittany Lions. And the inside linebackers, a lot of special teams action. So the first down after the pass interference, Greenlee going to the far side, looking towards the receiver, Rich Kearney. It goes incomplete. Brian Miller on the coverage.
The outstanding defensive back in the country is awarded the Jim Thorpe Award each year in college football. Brian Miller, who's just 5'9", 183 pounds, has been a 2-year starter, just a junior, is a finalist for that award. And we've seen him. He made one of the earlier interceptions today, and that was a tremendous job on that last play of the coverage.
Number 1 in the Big Ten 1 year ago, again this season in pass breakups. 2nd and 10 now. Glover up the middle, gets a decent lead block to the 31-yard line. Terry Killens credited for the tackle. Glover now 15 carries, 82 yards on the day.
Like, one of the things that we have seen in college football on the part of defensive staffs is to try to get as much foot speed on the field as you possibly can. To do that, we're seeing smaller defensive backs. And as we talked to Jerry Sandusky, we talked about, is he concerned that Brian Miller's just 5'9"? He says no, because he's got the foot speed to cover receivers.
Glover not started any games last year. Ditto falls, and pardon me, Greenlee, and he has to throw it away. They're going to rule him down on the play. He tried to just dump it off to the man we spoke of earlier, and that's number 33, Sean Glover.
It appears that Adam Greenlee loses his footing as he went back. His left foot just slipped, went out from under him. It's important that he doesn't just throw that ball up in the air and give the Penn State defenders an opportunity to get their hands on it.
Zukowski, and the kick is blocked by Terry Killens. He's got the football at the 9-yard line, working towards the end zone. Did he get in? Yes. Touchdown, Penn State. If it can go wrong this year for Indiana, it will. And today it has. Opportunistic Penn State team.
And we talk about foot speed. The defensive line of scrimmage of Penn State, when you look at them physically, they are not big, overpowering people, but they all run well. Terry Killens, a linebacker before he came to Penn State, and we're going to see that he avoids the block of number 27 and then has the foot speed to close on the punter. The awareness to come over, take time to bend down, pick the ball up, and advance it in for the touchdown.
The PAT by Conway is up and good. The last time Penn State blocked a punt for touchdown was last year. Brian Miller did it against Iowa. And now it's Terry Killens. A couple of sacks, and now 6. 38-0 our score. 38 points on the scoreboard for the Penn State Nittany Lions. 14 of them, just 2 touchdowns on what we'll call normal offensive production. The rest points off of turnovers, an interception return for a TD, and now a blocked punt for touchdown by Terry Killens. And again, Conway kicks off. Dorian Wilkerson will stay right in the end zone, and we will send it to Kenny May.
On Kansas here, it's Matt Miller in at quarterback, lobs it out to the corner. Mitch running, he is running, he's catching, he's scoring. They went for 2 and they made it. And Kansas State leading this thing now 24-7. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Kenny. There you see number 92, Terry Killens. Busy day for the young man. 5 tackles, 3 sacks, a block punt for touchdown, and he forced a fumble. Those are good numbers.
They certainly are.
From the 20-yard line, Indiana offensively again. Back at quarterback is Chris Ditto. He hands off to Sean Glover. Glover goes around the right side for a gain of 5, met by Gerald Filardi, the middle linebacker. As a helmet hits the turf, Kim Herring was in to help out.
Mike, earlier in the ball game, we had a shot of Coach Paterno on the sideline with Terry Killens. He was obviously not pleased with something. And what is real good to see is that Killens was able to take that a very aggressive criticism of his head coach, respond to it, and come back with those numbers that you pointed out just a minute ago.
Certainly has been the Indiana miscues that have turned into a pretty casual day for Joe Paterno and company. Ditto to pass over the middle, complete. That's the biggest completion of the day by Chris Ditto.
The Penn State defense has struggled covering the tight end during the season. Earlier in the season, Rutgers had a big day getting the ball to their tight end, and then last week in their game against Iowa, the Hawkeyes went to their tight end on several occasions.
17-yard gain, the reception made by Kurt Good, number 3 on the depth chart at the tight end position. You see the defensive coordinator, Jerry Sandusky of the Nittany Lions, from the 42. Glover on the left side. Glover working to the outside, avoids a would-be tackler, gets to midfield. Flag on the play, a gain of 8. Todd Atkins made the stop for Penn State.
Let's watch the wide receiver. When a wide receiver blocks back in toward the football, he must keep the block above the waist. Real good call by the field judge, and a big penalty. This is the second time in the game. Second time in the game, Mike, that Indiana has had positive yardage on the corner, only to have a wide receiver penalized. Earlier in the game, a holding penalty nullified a 9-yard gain, and then we see the illegal block here.
You see some of the scores from around the nation. 1st and 22 for the Indiana Hoosiers. Ball moved all the way back to nearly their 30-yard line. 6:45 remaining in the third quarter. Ditto with pressure, Terry Killens. Who else? 6th sack of the day by Penn State.
This time, Mike, Penn State gets the sack off of the blitz. We're going to see the 4-man pressure coming from the weak side. Number 33, Sean Glover, the tailback, was not quick enough to be able to come back and block that 4th rusher coming off the edge, and that's number 92, Terry Killens. Again, he runs so well and has such closing speed to the quarterback.
Now it's 2nd and 31, 4th sack of the day for Killens. The defense was alive last week against Iowa. They had 8 sacks against the Hawkeyes. 2nd and 31. Ditto, time over the middle. Glover back to the 31-yard line. A gain of 12 on the play. Damon Troy tied him up.
Good decision by Chris Ditto. He was looking for the deep crossing route in behind the linebackers. The linebackers, because of the down and distance, got the deep drop. He went back in front of them. Good decision on his part.
Glover came in with 19 receptions on the year. As you can see, Ditto not afraid to dump it off to his tailback. He joined us late. Alex Smith out of the lineup. Michael Batts is too for the year. That's why you see that man, number 33, Sean Glover. 3rd and 20. Pressure from the backside. Stepping up is Ditto. Just got it away. Complete for the first down. Long completion made on the play by Damian Matthews, number 2. 22-yard gain and an Indiana first down.
Going to see the great job on the replay here of the wide receiver working to get open, coming down into the secondary under tremendous pressure. Ditto does a good job of stepping up and finding the receiver in the seam.
Into Penn State territory. Football on the 46-yard line. To the up back, and a good gain on the play by Steve Lee. Hits it to about the 46 yards on the first down carry. Aaron Collins made the stop for the Penn State defensive unit.
Mike is so impressed with the speed of the front 4 for Penn State. They run like linebackers, and that's what you try to do. You try to take linebacker kind of players and put them at your defensive line. Take those big, strong safety kind of defensive backs and put them at linebacker to get more speed on the field.
8th play of the drive started at the Indiana 20-yard line. Glover gets the gain of 4 yards needed and another Indiana first down. Let's check down on the sidelines with Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk, what you got?
Well, Mike and Coach Lewis, I'll tell you what, it is very important, although this game is Anna Reed's 38-0 in favor of Penn State. Very important for quarterback Chris Ditto. I had a chance to talk to him this morning. He's lacking a little bit of confidence. I know he's had a sprained knee, but even if he was healthy, you might have seen a quarterback switch to Adam Greenlee. This is important for the remainder of this quarter and the fourth quarter for Chris Ditto to gain some confidence for the remainder of this season.
Of course, Kirk would know about that because he always had the confidence during his days at Ohio State. Never any turmoil in his career, right? Ditto over the middle, and it goes complete. Kirk, of course, former quarterback at Ohio State, and he talked to us about that yesterday, that Chris Ditto, Kirk is another quarterback, could see in Ditto's way he was throwing. He wasn't zipping the ball, and you guys talked about it.
One of the things that's important, and Kirk has such a feel because he played at Ohio State and he played just a couple years ago. You can't play quarterback without being a very self-confident person, not to the point of being cocky, but you have to have confidence that you can get that ball in between linebackers in front of defensive backs. If you don't have it, you hold off, you're tentative with your throws.
2nd and 6 now. Here's Ditto with time. Pumps, and now the pressure will get to him as he was hauled down by Todd Atkins, number 58, with help on the play by Brad Scioli, number 5.
Most of the pressure throughout the season from the Penn State defenses come from their outside rushers. Number 58, Todd Atkins, we see here one of the great attributes of a pass rusher is that you never stop. You have to be relentless in pressuring the quarterback. You can't get to him around the corner, as we saw Atkins came back and worked back to the inside for that sack.
Ditto is 4 for 4 on the drive. Now on 3rd and 4, they hand the football to Sean Glover, and he pulls his way up for another first down. Kenny Mayne back in the studio.
All right, update here on Wisconsin and Michigan State. Wisconsin starting to pull away. Darrell Bevel from 1 yard lobs it out there. Tony Simmons touchdown. And Wisconsin's pulled away now 31-7 over Michigan State. Mike, back to you.
So Barry Alvarez's Badgers in control, and so are the Penn State Nittany Lions. But Indiana putting together an impressive drive. Glover has now rushed for 100 yards on the day. 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line. Glover again, and this time he's wrapped up by Mark Tate. Good defensive play by Tate, number 33, the junior from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Mark Tate is a cornerback, and on that particular play, Jerry Sandusky had his corner on a corner fire stunt, bringing him on a blitz. Mark Tate does a nice job of seeing the ball away from him and taking the proper angle to make the play from the backside.
Tate sprained a knee against Ohio State last year and missed basically the remainder of the season. And he's starting to reassert himself defensively in a full season of play this year. Indiana, impressive drive, 13th play. Ditto from the gun. Looks over the middle, and he goes complete again, this time to Eric Matthews. Now, Ditto looks like the quarterback as advertised in the media guide at the beginning of the season. Very poised, very stereotypical in his drop-back style on this drive.
He does a nice job here, and he really seems comfortable in the shotgun position. Does a good job of finding that throwing lane between linebackers to find number 3, Eric Matthews, coming on the crossing route.
A gain of 10 and another Indiana first down. They have the football at the Penn State 12. I formation setup. 2 wide receivers flanked to the right side. They give it to the up back. That's Steve Lee. He fumbles the football. Still, we'll see if they whistled it down. The football was still free. It would have been belonging to Penn State, but a whistle came early, and I think Indiana's going to finally catch a break.
And if that whistle doesn't come early, that's a touchdown, because the hero back, Clint Holes, had that ball scooped, and he was heading for the end zone. We'll see on the replay just where the ball, that's a fumble.
Oh, yeah.
That is a fumble and a real poor call on the part of the official. The ball is clearly on the ground. What happens to officials, and we can really beat them up, is they sometimes lose sight of just when the ball came out.
2nd and 7 from the 9, and Glover slips. Now, it's interesting to note that on this season, opponents in the red zone against the Penn State Nittany Lions are perfect. Now, you wouldn't think a team like Penn State, impressive defensive history over the years, would have not been able to stop their opponent inside the red zone this year, but they have not. Into the quarter, they'll try to stop Indiana. When we return for the fourth, the Nittany Lions in control on the deuce. Penn State has never lost 3 straight at home, and they held Indiana scoreless in the third quarter again, and the third quarter has been the Achilles heel for this football team.
It certainly has. You take the combination of their turnovers, and then you look going into their game last week against Michigan, they had scored just 1 touchdown in the third quarter while their opponents were scoring 59 points.
Maybe they can hit one in the first play of the fourth. 3rd and 8. There you see the numbers. Penn State defense in the red zone I mentioned earlier. From the 10-yard line of the Lions. Movement at the line. Flag on the play. Ditto. Intercepted. Gerald Filardi came away with the football, but the flag was thrown well before the pass was tossed by Chris Ditto. He's been picked already 3 times today, but there was definite movement on the line, Coach.
Definite movement on the line of scrimmage. The Indiana center again snapping the ball. It appeared that Brad Scioli was in the neutral zone. Let's look on the replay, and I think what we're going to see is a situation where Chris Ditto just does not have a throwing lane. There's windows where receivers come open behind linebackers. Had Chris Ditto just held onto the ball, his receiver was working into an open window. That's what separates the levels of quarterback, is your ability to see and have a feel.
Now, Scioli was indeed the recipient of the flag, so Penn State gives Indiana a break. It is now 3rd and 3 from the 5. Glover, second effort. He is going to be very close to the first down. His forward progress was close to the marker, Coach. It's going to depend on the spot. Holes and Herring combined to make the tackle.
If the marker on the far sideline is accurate, it appears that he's going to be about a half a yard short.
Come in and measure.
Glover does a nice job of making people miss. He actually avoided that play being a negative play. There was penetration in the backfield, good body control.
Just got the first down. Well, this offense of Bill Mallory's has had no production this year, averaging just 15.4 points a game. Indiana has scored over 20 points in only 2 games this season. They're looking for their first points of this afternoon, and we are in the fourth quarter.
The 15 points a game, Mike, is 11th in the Big Ten, last in that category.
1st and goal for Indiana. Glover stopped at the 1. Terry Killens, the senior, along with Gerald Filardi on the stop.
Penn State on defense really controlling the line of scrimmage. The one thing you notice is that there was no movement at the line of scrimmage, allowing Gerald Filardi freedom to scrape from his linebacker position to make the good hit on Sean Glover.
From the 1-yard line. Glover again. Touchdown, Indiana. Sean Glover goes over the top. Good lead block by the fullback, Steve Lee, and the Hoosiers finally find the end zone.
Mike, I want to go back to the comment that Kirk made from the sideline at the start of this drive. It was important for the confidence of quarterback Chris Ditto. Equally as important is the confident level of the Indiana offense. And they did it against the first-team defense of Penn State. On the replay, they managed to get enough movement, and they got that big fullback, Steve Lee, up on the linebacker, Filardi, that time, allowing Glover to go over the top for the score.
Will Horn in for the injured Bill Monolopoulos, gets the point after. The touchdown by Sean Glover, just the 13th of the year by the Hoosiers. Getting 15. Ditto, working pressure from the backside. Football's on the turf. Penn State has it. Another turnover. Chris Snyder got the pressure, and the football was recovered by Brad Johnson, number 17.
Mike, if you're going to pressure the quarterback in college football, the pressure has to come from the perimeter. That's where it starts. All day we saw Atkins, we saw Killens, and again, from that same position, this is Todd Atkins' backup, number 91. Chris Snyder is able to get that pressure off the edge, and then he has the ability to run and close to the quarterback when he scrambled away.
8th sack of the game by Penn State. That equals their total of a week ago against Iowa. 5 Indiana turnovers. McCreary hands the football off. Enos hit in the backfield by Indiana's number 99, Jason Kaler. That was the man who caused the fumble. Chris Snyder, the defensive end, number 91. Good homecoming for that young man.
Well, certainly a happy time. He's got to feel good because as we looked and studied the Penn State defense, one of the things we all commented, we talked with Jerry Sandusky, they've not played many people. They've basically been an 11-man unit. So when you get a chance to get those backup people in, it's important to your team, important to those young people.
Query trying to go up top, looking for his receiver inside the 20. Reception made, going to be a touchdown, Penn State. Joe Jervicius, a 55-yard touchdown reception from the backup quarterback, Mike McCreary.
These are the situations, Mike, that are talked about as far as when do you stop trying to put points on the board by throwing the ball. My personal feeling is you got your backup quarterback in the game. You've got to give him a chance to throw the football because if he has to come into a critical situation, he's going to have that experience. We saw on that replay the tremendous job that Jervicius does with the ball in the air of leaving his feet, going up in the air, out jumping the defensive back for the ball and for the touchdown.
Another turnover that turns into Penn State points. And the backup place kicker, Mike Barninger, makes the PAT. Another Indiana miscue leads to what has turned into a big Penn State lead. You got anything clever to say?
That's just the great part of college football is that people can go and have fun. There's all kind of ways to have fun, Mike.
There's no question about it. And the youngster having fun running the football, working around the outside again. That is Chris Eberle, number 23 on the carry, a gain of 13 yards on the play. Now, Indiana's worst season in quite some time was 4-7. When they were that way in 1985. They'll fall to 2-6 on the year. Remaining games against Michigan State at home, at Ohio State, and the Oak and Bucket game played this year in Bloomington against Purdue. They put the football now to the left side of the field, and Penn State moves ahead. And the youngster Curtis Enos was the ball carrier. The miscues, truly the story. If you joined us late, Indiana turned the football over 5 times. They turned it over a lot in the first half, Coach, and that is what put the Penn State Nittany Lions in control of this game.
There's the whole story in that bottom line. 31 Penn State points as a result of the turnovers. It's nearly impossible to win a football game. I don't care how good you are, you can't overcome those kind of numbers.
Penn State working with just over 3 minutes remaining in the football game. Carl Gray, a backup fullback, the ball carrier for Joe Paterno's team. Now remember, we told you earlier that Indiana, one of the nation's worst in turnover margin. They came into today a -12. With the 5 turnovers, Penn State not committing any, they will fall to -17 on the year. Last year, Indiana was +8.
We asked Bill Mallory about that last night. Mike, you know, have they tried to do anything about it? He says, you know, we're the same coaching staff, coaching the same ways. Some years you avoid the turnovers. Other years you had it. And this year the floodgates have opened in that area.
Chris Eberle, the ball carrier for Penn State again. Approaching 2 minutes remaining. Mike Ballou made the stop, number 48 for Indiana.
Mike, to put that statistic in perspective, there are 108 Division I teams in college football. Coming into the game, Indiana was 105th. in the turnover margin, they might find themselves after this at the bottom of that group.
Third quarterback in the game for the Nittany Lions, number 4, Doug Ostrowski. 4th and 2. They pitch the football to Curtis Enos, and he is stopped behind the line of scrimmage. The play made by Aaron Williams, number 87. Indiana takes over on downs. The clock stopped with 1:51 remaining. If you joined us late, Aaron Collins, an 80-yard return of an interception for touchdown, made it 14-0 after Curtis Enos capped off an impressive drive in the first quarter. Hits an 8-yarder after an Indiana turnover, and then a 24-0 lead at the half after a field goal by Brett Conway, who broke the Penn State record, by the way, for consecutive PATs. He needed 2 on the day. He had more than that, 70-plus consecutive PATs. Chris Ditto intercepted 3 times. The lone bright spot has been that man who made the reception for Indiana offensively, and that is Sean Glover.
Sean Glover, as we mentioned, is over 150 yards rushing. He's caught the ball coming out of the backfield, and he has competed with this Penn State football team, and that's what's so impressive.
Under 1:30 remaining. Now Ditto throws it into the flat, and it's caught by Eric Matthews. Again, a very quiet day for Ajama Stoner. A gain of 13 yards on the reception by Eric Matthews. Don't forget, this is just game 1 of 2 on ESPN2. Elizabeth City State College against Hampton University. That is forthcoming immediately following our telecast. From the gun again, football spotted on the 48. They go to Matthews, and he gets out of bounds at the 42.
Like, it has to be so frustrating to the Indiana coaches when they look at the last 2 plays. You see Chris Ditto stand in the pocket, a lot of confidence. He makes 2 good throws, throwing the ball on outside routes to the sideline. A lot of quarterbacks can't make those throws. He can, but he just doesn't have the consistency of doing it play after play, series after series.
Gun on 2nd and 4. Over to a very busy Eric Matthews. Well, it's nice to see Matthews back in the lineup, but obviously this is much too little too late. And how about Joe Paterno? He will get victory number 275 this afternoon in his illustrious 30-year coaching career as the head coach here at Penn State.
One of the real giants of the coaching profession. You look at him, he's 4th on the all-time list of career victories, and there's 3 pretty impressive names in front of him.
And those 3 guys, as you see, will fall behind in the amount of games it took them to acquire career victory number 275.
One of the things that is so impressive when you have an opportunity to visit with Coach Paterno is through the 46 years at Penn State, 30 as a head coach, the man doesn't lose his enthusiasm. He has the same enthusiasm that he's had through his whole career here. And it almost seems like it's ageless and timeless.
He is much more than football coach to this university, too, undoubtedly. Ditto throws to the flat. Matthews makes the reception. You and I found out a great story. Well, we knew part of it. About $14 million going into a new library, and part of that's going to be greatly due to the efforts of Joe Paterno.
Joe Paterno has been very active, a part of that group. As a matter of fact, when we met with him yesterday, he had just come from a meeting with the library committee, and they have raised $14 million, and I believe that when the new wing is completed in 2 years, they're going to name it after that man right there.
And thusly they should. From the gun, Ditto. I'll tell you, just 14-3. Just mark it down with the football squirts free out of the arms of Matthews. I think Indiana's going to retain possession, though. He came in yesterday very busy, but very, very accommodating to our needs. And Joe Paterno, when he sits and talks, he talks in that quiet voice, and you just want to listen to what he says. And it doesn't matter, because not all he talks about is football, and that's the refreshing thing about this man.
Well, what he has done for not only Penn State but for college football is he has stood for academic integrity. When you look at his goals, when you look at what they accomplished, the number one thing which they never lose sight of, Big Ten championships, national championships, is they are going to give their young people an opportunity to get an education and graduate from Penn State.
The 2nd and 8, Dorian Wilkerson, a 13-yard reception to the 5-yard line against undoubtedly not the number 1 unit defensively of Penn State. And just another Saturday afternoon for Joe Paterno, because he will be the first one to mention that doesn't matter if it's number 275. What's important is we got the job done. We take it a week closer, and we're still have our sights set on the Citrus Bowl and getting that 2 spot in the Big Ten Conference.
Absolutely, and seeing them today, you get the feeling that this Penn State football team is improving each week. They finally, I think, have settled down defensively. I think what Jerry Sandusky did at the urging of Coach Paterno, let's make it simple. When you're struggling on defense, and they were struggling a little bit, and Coach Paterno shared that with us, we've got to cut down on what we're trying to do on defense. Let's not have our guys confused. Let's not have them thinking defense is recognition, reaction. Let's turn them loose. I think Jerry Sandusky did that today, and as a result was a very solid effort on the part of the Penn State defense.
Indiana has a 1st and goal from the 5 forthcoming. To thank Kirk Herbstreit for his contributions, of course, on the Big Ten tour. He's been with us all season long. And what he talked about with the quarterbacks, Chris Ditto, will be something we look for today and on this drive, even though it's in the final minutes of the game against the second unit. But we'll see if that helps him mentally in the weeks to come. Ditto from the 5 throws it. Touchdown, Indiana. So Chris Ditto uses Eric Matthews with frequency, and Indiana gets their 2nd touchdown of the afternoon.
Mike, what's going to be important about the offensive production and about Chris Ditto's performance is that when they go back into a competitive situation 2 weeks from now, they go with Alex Smith back in the backfield. They have found that Sean Glover can be productive at the tailback. They'll go in with 2 productive tailbacks and a quarterback coming out of this game with some real positive things to hang his hat on.
Will Horn with the point after for Indiana. It's 45-14. 37 seconds remaining in the game. After the PAT, Chris Ditto, impressive drive. Elizabeth City State College, Hampton University, Jerry Punch, Mike Mayock standing by. That's coming up next. Just the 3rd touchdown pass this season thrown by an Indiana quarterback. Ditto finishes the day 19 of 26, 178 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. The other 2 tosses went to Stoner.
They have really struggled to make this happen. What we're going to see is to get the ball in the end zone by any way, especially with their pass offense. One of the other things, Mike, that I think that comes out of this 4th quarter performance of Chris Ditto is I think you find out the true character of people when they go through adverse situations. Chris Ditto couldn't have had a tougher start to a ball game, but he had the makeup to come back in the 4th quarter, and I think those are the things that stand out in situations like this, and I think these are the things that Bill Maurer and his staff will go back and build on for the rest of their Big Ten season.
Thanks to that drive, Matthews, 11 receptions, 104 yards, and that touchdown. So he'll end up with decent numbers, at least when you open the newspaper in the morning.
He came in with just 10 catches on the season, so he's had quite an afternoon for himself.
Onside kick, Freddie Scott couldn't handle it, took a big hit. And we'll see who came away with the football. Indiana has the football. So they will stay on the offense with 37 seconds remaining. And that'll give Ditto a chance to add to the numbers. ESPN2 has all the college football action at 12 noon. Baylor next Saturday looks to tackle the Miami Hurricanes. That game to be played in the Orange Bowl. 7 o'clock, Eddie George leads Ohio State into Minnesota. Put a period on the day next Saturday with Sports Night, won't you? Ditto from the shotgun. Lots of time, throws it up. Matthews sprung free for a moment, but it was underthrown. Coming back and all over Matthews, though, was number 7, Chris Alston, a cornerback.
Once again, Mike, when the ball is in the air, you've got to play the football. You can't have contact with a receiver, and you cannot play the receiver. You saw the hands clearly on Matthews before the ball got there.
Today, a microcosm of Indiana's season. What could go wrong did, especially in the first half. when Penn State came out impressively on their first drive, but then took advantage of Indiana miscues to put this game away early. Indiana in the latter moments trying to score another touchdown. Ditto takes the low snap, looking in the shotgun, going towards the end zone. Wide open, Dorian Wilkerson, another touchdown for the Hoosiers. 36-yard touchdown reception by Dorian Wilkerson, and Joe Paterno doesn't care what unit is in the football game. He's going, how does a guy get that wide open?
Exactly. He wants to know what the coverage was. Jerry Sandusky telling him what the coverage was. Anytime you have a receiver that wide open, there is a bust on the defensive side of the football.
Jerry going, I almost made it through the day without Fox finding me.
Exactly.
Man, so close.
Jerry told some funny stories.
He says, my boss comes looking for me. What did he say? There was a time earlier this year where Paterno came looking for Jerry. He was kind of tucked behind a player, and he was naturally going to go, Coach, all right, I'm right here, and grab him and save him the walk.
Actually, he said he knew that Coach Paterno didn't see him. He was going to pass right by, and he reached out and he grabbed him. And he said, here's the guy you're looking for. And as we see, but those two have been together for such a long time, and they've got such a great respect for each other.
Indiana last year had 2 late touchdowns against Penn State, we'll recall. Made the game a bit closer than this one, obviously. Some have argued that cost Penn State the national championship. I don't know if we want to get back into that discussion, but some have said.
It certainly has, and it has sprung so much of the conversation about the polls and about the amount of scoring and how it affects the pollsters. It all goes back to that week, because up until that time, Penn State was #1. They lost that ranking because of the close score, and they finished the season 12-0 and never have an opportunity to regain it.
Yep. And it was Chris Ditto in relief as he was today, but not quite the same situation as 1 year ago. This side, the onside kick handled nicely by Freddie Scott. He'll sit down, and now Penn State will have a chance after the flags go a-flying to run the clock out and walk away with another homecoming victory.
Paterno didn't like the late hit because the ball carrier was Freddie Scott, number 31. That's what people refer to as their hands team. When you're receiving the onside kick, you get the people on your team with the best ability to catch the ball. And you're going to see clearly that Freddie Scott is on the ground. And now here comes the late hit right here. And I don't blame that guy for being upset. I don't care who the player is, let alone you got one of your starting wide receivers taking that late hit. One of the other things, Mike, we talked with Coach Paterno about the importance of really trying to settle the national championship picture. His team was the victim last year of being 12-0 and not sharing in that national title. And kind of the discussion centered around how college football has missed the opportunity of having a true national champion like we have in the Final Four in basketball.
Indiana, the miscues cost them today. Penn State ups their record to 6-2 on the year, 3-2 in the Big Ten. They await the Northwestern Wildcats up in Evanston next week. And congratulations to Joe Paterno, career win number 275.
And it certainly appears that they are smiling, and Bill certainly has an understanding, and probably Joe's explaining that situation to him. But they're two guys that have known each other for a long time, and that's a real show of sportsmanship on their part.
That's the story here in State College. Penn State gets the win, 45-21. For Bill Lewis and Kirk Herbstreit, Mike Goldberg saying so long. We now go to our next game. Jerry Punch and Mike Mayock. Take it away, guys.
PSU Sports College Football presents the Big Ten matchup.